So you have to list out all your favorite games.
Hundreds a lot to thought, but there's no room to waste.
Even if you ponder it so very long, someone on the internet will tell you you're wrong. Top 100 games from the A-Team. Top 100 games. Watch us on live stream. Top 100 games. You'll enjoy it too.
Hello and welcome back to the A-Team's Top 100. I am Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Chris Yi.
I'm Roy Cannaday.
And I'm Wendy Yi.
Today we are doing our 30s, right? 31 through 40,
It's a good age.
right? That's what
40 through
I'm
31. I'm going to do it 40 through 31 personally.
Well, okay, fine. We'll see how I do it.
This is the beef between
Mix
us
it
right
up
now,
backwards.
is I do smaller number first.
It doesn't
What I'm
make sense.
saying is
because
when
I
you're
count up
saying it, but like
when
when
I
we
say it.
count down when we do it, yeah.
What's the thumbnail say?
We're doing the 30s
Well,
today.
my thumbnail is sparkly and says.
But we're going to start with
I don't know what
40.
We're
We are
gonna
going to start with 40.
Yes.
That's the best 30 that there is 40.
That's right.
But except we're not going to do the actual number 30.
But right now, we're going to do number 40.
One small administrative note: if you're watching this live right now, Dice Tower cruise tickets are available.
Oh, snap.
Literally
Literally my favorite board game event, period. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
All
So
right.
much fun.
awesome.
Well
And if you're watching this in the future, come on the cruise and play my number 40 with
And
me.
this year we're going to that water park place,
Coco
Coco
Cay.
Cay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed out on that.
I'm so
last
excited.
time.
Perfect
I'm
side.
excited for you. That's how
Yes,
excited I
I
am.
love water slides.
All right, but come on the cruise and play my number 40 game of all time.
Or that.
This is gonna be a crossover. I smell it. Kemet, Blood and Sand. This is, this is
Violence.
such a great violent area control game. This is in ancient Egypt, and
scorpion.
you got scorpions, you got giant beasties and monsters and stuff, and you're running around and you're just fighting each other. This is kind of, this is a lot of the games that you've been talking about,
This
Roy.
makes me proud of you, honestly. I am honored that you have this game on your list, even
Yeah.
though I have nothing to do with this game design, this production,
Have y'all
anything.
played together?
Just the fact that it is a dudes on a map game, I'm proud of you.
We did play this one together.
We did play it together.
This is my first time playing Kemet. I never played the original, so this is the Blood and Sand. Whichever one. They're pretty much the same game from what I understand. But I like it. On the pyramid here, you have a little action selection thing where you can move and you can recruit workers, but you can build up technologies, and I think that's one of the most fun and compelling parts of this game, is getting all sorts of different power tiles that make you more distinct and unique from everybody else. You go into battle, and it's a very simple little card flip system. But for some reason, none of the other games that you talk about, like Ankh or
I think the difference is
Heroes of Land and Sea.
oh, well, never mind. I was gonna say, you played this with me, that means you like it. All the other ones you didn't play with me.
Oh, I despised. Yeah, I didn't really care for Heroes of Land and Sea, but I know there's so many games of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
style that you like, and this is the one that's really just spoken with me.
I wonder why this one pushes up more than some of the other ones. What is it?
I think it's the tech tiles. I think that's the little action selection
yeah.
board.
Does like tech.
It is.
I like tech as well.
It has some Euro-driven kind of stuff going on with it.
It also has pyramids.
It has pyramids,
That's
and
probably what really did it.
I think the combat resolves so simply that I'm not kind of locked up like in certain other games where you have like this card will beat that card, but if you play this one, then my whole plan.
So you like
this
the
one
fact
is-
that it's just hidden numbers as opposed to.
it's really
Pick, rock,
straightforward.
scissors.
Yeah, put cards, reveal. I won or I lost. Something cool happens either way. I really like it. So, Kemet, Blood and Sand by number 40.
Very
Awesome.
nice. All right. Thank you, Matt, for the super chat. I as well was excited for this all weekend, especially this game. And speaking of murder,
Just this game?
and crossover with Roy,
What?
What?
Mansions of Madness, second edition.
Nice.
Yes.
Wait,
That was a clap.
I know.
is it a crossover with me?
Not yet.
We're anticipating.
It's not. Roy Cannaday.
Wait,
This
who
is
did
gonna be
Manchester
on your
Madness
list.
already?
Everybody is going to be like, I'm crossing over with Roy. But Roy hasn't said it yet.
Okay. All
I thought
right.
someone
well,
already did Mansions of Madness. No?
No,
I think
he and I
just
talked about
referenced
Lord of
it.
the Rings, the
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
similar
So-
games. Yeah.
All right. Well, I should say I'm supposing it's going to be a crossover with Roy. I will not speak for him. Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, specifically the 2nd Edition, is the only one I played. In this, it's set in the Cthulhu. It's not the universe, because it's our universe. What do you call it? The Cthulhu mythos. There it is, the Cthulhu mythos. And you have different scenarios you're going through. It is this app-driven, which I love. I think the app-driven nature of this game kind of simplifies a lot of the play, but yet it still has a really good interaction with the physical componentry. And I think that really sells the game. It's got some fun narratives. It's really challenging. I'm trying to think if I've ever won this game.
Oh, really?
Like, okay, I should say a scenario on the first try. I've won it, but like the first time I do a scenario, I don't think I've ever won the first go round.
I could see that.
Do you like to explore like everything?
I do.
This game doesn't give you time to explore
I'm
everything.
definitely
You
very
have to skip
let's see what
things.
happens kind of player in this game, which is not the way to play this game, but it leads to some really neat stories and lots of bloody moments. So a lot of fun with this game, and I'm always excited to pull it out. So my number 40 is Mansions of Madness.
I appreciate that this had a
yes.
couple puzzles in it, so there was like hinting
I
at kind of
love the
that
puzzles.
unlock feel or that escape room feel.
Yeah. I think I'm more in the exploration. The puzzles I could leave or take. It's usually like, oh, there's a puzzle. Someone go do that. I'm gonna see what's over here.
stab things.
There's a big monster. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, cool. You guys can take care of that. That's one of my least favorite parts. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, my number 40 is a kind of ugly game that looks like not much. It actually reminds me of Explorers, and this is Kingdom Builder. So
This is high on your list.
It's high on my list. I like it. It's funny. Kirsten and I actually recently replayed this. I was organizing the big box edition, and so we decided to play it. But it's just such a simple, basic turn. It follows a lot of. I think a lot of games have followed it. But you flip over a terrain tile, whatever that terrain card, whatever that is. You place out 3 little houses, and there's little objectives you want to do. But you get special powers once you go next to or adjacent to some of these different buildings, and those can change. And there's also tons of expansions, and so the board game changes up and all of that. But I find it to be a lot of fun, just this puzzle of, well, I want to expand out, I want to create things, and maybe my objective is I want to split up my adjacent train of stuff, so I have to figure out how I can split up because I always have to do adjacent things. Sometimes you want to have the longest or largest area of stuff. So it just depends, but I really enjoy all the little objectives, and it's a different puzzle every time. And it works really well with 2, but also works well with more people, and I appreciate that.
I think these two will have almost nothing to say about it. I like the game a lot. It didn't quite make my 100 list, but it's one of those, in the 120s, 110s maybe. It's really good for what
Also,
it is.
it was number 43, so it has gone up, I guess, on my 100 list, just slightly.
Nice.
There you go.
So, yep, Kingdom Builder, number 40.
My number 40 is also a crossover with myself, and Chris. And this is Forgotten Waters. It is a thematic pirate game with awesome narrative. I love the voice acting in this. They've got a bunch of different voice actors doing all the story, and it just really immerses you in the kind of wacky, zany pirate theme of this game. This is not like traditional pirates. This is crazy magic pirates. But it's a lot of fun, and you cooperate, but you all have hidden objectives or objectives that you're trying to complete yourself and trying to go up stats to try to go on this little almost star.
It's like Star Chart, yeah.
Star chart board thing
You're
to
building your
kind of
constellation
unlock your epic pirate ending and things like that. But it's a lot of fun because you work together and you try to go through different missions and things like that. It's really enjoyable, and it's a blast to play. It's Forgotten Waters, so it's a lot of fun.
Fantastic pick.
Have you not forgotten it yet?
I have not forgotten it, and that's why it's on the list.
Yeah, I think this one's really good because it's some people say it's semi-co-op, and I don't think it's semi-co-op. It's
Not
definitely
really.
co-op, but it's selfish co-op.
Right.
There's those times where you want to do
Which
the
makes a
thing
little
you
bit
want to
sense
do.
being a pirate game.
right,
It's
and I think that's-
give me the gold, give me the stuff, give me the cool loot.
Right,
I want to
yeah.
go stab the bad guy. I'm
Yes.
going to do that action. You load the cannon. Who
Right,
cares?
and so because with the action selection, kind of hierarchy, I think that's
And
a really
it's kind of interesting because as you do those actions, it kind of boosts up the different stats.
Yeah.
So because different people want to do different things, it means that the same person isn't always doing the same thing because they need a variety of stats
Right.
boosted. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool little system. So that
Good
is
pick.
Forgotten Waters.
Okay.
All right. Number 39 is a crossover with someone at this table who is seated directly to my left.
Me.
Yeah!
Well, you are directly.
And this is one of the games that actually surprised me the most. Underwater Cities.
Oh, surprised
Wow.
that you liked it, or surprised that we crossed over?
I'm surprised that we crossed over
Yeah.
with it because it's great. It's a beautiful game, and I don't know. You know, I see why you like it.
Okay.
But sometimes I have a hard time getting a read on like.
Right.
This game is really mechanically sound. It's so
Yeah.
smart. It's clever. Camilla might hate it. I'm not sure.
You've said that before, that you have a hard time like really honing in on my tastes.
Yeah, but this one is great. I love the idea of it's sort of a worker placement, but you can also match up a card to the spot that you're going to. It's tight. It is really, really tight, no matter the player count. If memory serves, I think it's loosest at 2, and so I might prefer that. Also, the game's a little long.
Yeah, especially at 4.
Have you tried any of the expansion stuff?
I'm not. No.
The
I've only played
expansion
base.
the expansion's great. I like some of the things that it changes out. The little cities, the metropolis that you're connecting to in the corners, has a new little like kind of a drafting system for them.
Oh, cool.
And it does kind of the Terraforming Mars prelude thing where you can skip the first round and just start with a few extra cards and boosts. And I think I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a great
That'd be
way to make an
nice.
expansion for a big Euro game. Is just kind of speed up the first
Yeah,
little
get
bit.
it going.
Yeah, exactly. So Underwater
Mm-hmm.
Cities is fantastic with or
is
without
good.
the expansion, but I do like the expansion. It's just pricey.
Yeah, I'll have to play with the expansion. I think what I really liked about this game, and just help you hone in on my taste there, is like there's always something you can do. Yes, there's more efficient things you can do, but you never feel like you're taking a useless turn.
Okay.
You know, and just biding time. I think a lot of times there's some Euros I played that like kind of back you in that corner, and you're like, all right, I'm just along for the ride, waiting for the space I want to open up. You know, like this one, there's always something that you can do that's of
Right.
benefit, and that again gets that engine moving along. So
Okay.
I really like that.
I'm gonna keep that nugget of wisdom in my GWiz file,
All
and I'm
right.
gonna pull it out at some point. Be like, you should like this because you said it.
Whiz file.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Good
Number
pick,
39,
good pick.
Underwater Cities.
My number 39 is a crossover with Roy, I think.
Mr. Popular, you think?
I'm pretty
My
sure it was
entire
Roy.
list.
Above and Below. That was you, right?
Yes.
Okay, right, yeah. I really like this game. I think that this is another, I feel like as I looked through over my top 100, my top of the Red Raven games or Ryan Lockett games are his ones that are, I don't want to say not the best, but not the most popular. Like Islebound and Rome and Above and Below, I think too, it just because it's simpler.
Yeah.
Maybe more straightforward. I think people overlook it and go for the bigger and heavy ones, but especially at a lower player count. At 2 players, this is my go-to Red Raven game.
Oh, wow.
I love, at that lower player count, it has enough of the narrative that gives you those little like interesting moments where you feel like you have that little bit of swingy, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty straightforward Euro,
Yeah.
and I really, really like that about it. I like how straightforward it is, how quick it is at two players, but then it still has interesting flavor to it. So, good pick, Roy. Good pick, me. Number 39, Above and Below.
That's a
Give
good one.
yourself a gold star.
I pat myself on the back.
That was awesome. I did so good.
Some people should play
Yay, I'm
Ryan
so
Lockett
proud of
games.
myself.
I really should. I feel guilty.
They're all on the shelves
Yeah,
out there.
they need to happen.
This will be easy to get to the table for
They're
you
on
guys.
the, they're on the
Right,
doable
yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Just not the done list. All right, my number 39 is Mandala. This is a little 2-player card game where you have 2 circles in front of you, and each one of those circles will get completed once it has all 6 colors that it needs. And so what you're doing is you have a hand of cards, and you can either replace them, like discard some cards of the same color and replace them. You can place all the cards of the same color into your mandala in front of you, like for your majority, so to speak, or you can place a single card into the middle and draw a card. And so it's very simple mechanisms, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to complete the mandala with the most cards on your side, so you can get first choice of one set of colors in the middle. So if I win, I can take 3 yellows, and then you place 1 yellow in front of you as the I score it at level 1, and then the rest of the yellows go into your actual scoring pile, and you multiply whatever level that color's at by what's in your supply. And there's up to 6 levels. So it's a very simple card game, but there's something about it that I just really enjoy. The decisions are very easy and very simple. I appreciate that there's 2 that you're working on, so it's not like, oh, Chris is gonna finish this one, done. Like there's just something really enjoyable about it, and I love the little mat that it's like fabric and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty, it's simple, and it's quick. I like it.
We own multiple of these like small box little head-to-head card games like this, and this one comes out quite a bit.
It just works for me.
Yeah.
I taught it to you.
Yeah, I've played it. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you
I
played
was
it,
charmed.
Roy?
What?
Have you played?
No.
You don't like that? You don't like the circles?
Nope.
No, I definitely have not played.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mine. Number 39 is Mandala.
My number 39 is a game, I don't know that I should still keep doing this, but it's a crossover with Chris, even though not yet. Probably most likely in his top 10. This is Dominion, the grandfather of deck building games. It's also going to be on Wendy's list. But yeah, this is a awesome game with lots of deck building, and I just really enjoy. Like, this is the first deck building game, and you would think there'd be a lot of other things that replace it, and there are deck building games I like more than this, but I really enjoy like how simple this is to get into and play, and just the interesting combos you get to build up as the game goes along. Each different set of cards gives you a whole new puzzle of like, how do I best utilize the way the cards come up? And just being like, okay, I have this much to spend this turn, I'm gonna get this card, you know, and just making those decisions is super interesting each time. And just trying to figure out when you go for points and when you go for more cards is an interesting pivot point in the game as the game goes along. I've had a blast with Dominion and I still really enjoy it. That's why it's my number 39.
Smart
It is
pick.
very mechanically sound.
Yes.
Speaking of deck building games, your pick is wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Your pick is awesome. I love Dominion.
Yeah.
But my number 38 is a deck building game and worker placement game combined in one called Dune Imperium. This is a game that I think grew on me. And that's not to say that I disliked it at first. I liked it a lot at first, and then just the more and more that I played it, I thought, this game is so good. It's one of the most tense and stressful games that I play, that I really, really enjoy playing. And at the end of it, I almost feel like I need a breather because you're trying to combo cards that work for worker placement spots, which are also pretty tight. And then you're trying to be able to put units into the middle of the little battle map there, which is also pretty tight, and you're trying to climb up to get 10 points, which is really tight. And then you need to have leftover cards that you didn't use as workers for like your currency to purchase cards and keep your deck thin and lean and mean, but also you need to
And
buy
the deck
better
building can
cards.
actually matter in this game a lot.
It really can, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I like this one so much. And at first I didn't really like that upgrade pack until Wendy painted it. Big shout out,
painting
because your
looks
paint
awesome.
job looks so cool. I was like, oh, I actually kind of like the minis in this game now. But minis with wooden meeples, however, whatever version you play of this game, it's fantastic.
I feel like such an outlier. Like, this game doesn't speak to me. I have deck builded myself into a wall multiple times with this game where I just don't have I don't
Really?
have the colors of cards that I need for the spaces, so I get the actions that I want. Or sorry, I get the special abilities that I want, but I don't have a blue card, I can't go to the blue space. I don't have a green card, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. I just feel like I'm always like fighting against my deck in this.
You really have
and it
to.
frustrates
You
me.
really have to make sure you don't like
Yeah.
fill yourself up with the wrong cards, because there's multiple things to think about on each of those cards. Like, what does the
Right.
ability have?
Yeah.
What spaces will let me go to? What like there's a
passive?
bunch of
What am I
different
gonna say?
things.
What's the
Yeah.
passive one?
It's
Let's think
so-
about
yeah.
that.
Should I cull
There's a
stuff
right
out of my
one.
deck by going to this space? Should I get this thing more? Should I make sure I go to the guild space so I get one that gives me a whole bunch of options, so that way I don't miss out on options? You know?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
Right.
but there's still those times where you're like, nothing's in the lineup that I really want, but I feel like I need to buy something because I have money, and so like,
Oh, see,
Yeah,
I think maybe
I
that's a mistake.
never-
There's
never do
multiple
that.
times
Yeah.
that it's like, the money can go.
yeah.
Right. No, I agree with you though. This one is one that I was all right. You know, the first time I played. You know, and then the second time I was like, okay, I like this a little bit more, and it definitely has rewarded, like
Yeah.
gone up. I mean, it was on my top 100 as well. You know, and it definitely keeps climbing. I think it's
the spice is addictive.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
sure.
I was never excited to play it, but the more I play it, it's like, oh, I really like this game. Oh, I
Okay.
forgot I like this game. Okay, now I'm starting to get excited to play it. You know,
Gotcha,
it's
yeah.
definitely been like a slow boil.
Yeah,
For sure.
No, it's great, and it's not going to be in your top 100. We're far too gone for that. Has it already popped up on?
It's already popped
on
up on
yours?
mine. I don't know if
I'm about
it's
to
gone.
say
This is a future crossover with Roy Cannaday.
something like that.
Maybe. We'll see. This is not going to be a crossover with Roy Cannaday, I'm betting. So we'll see.
I'll just leave now.
No, Roy. But I think it's probably the lightest game on this chunk here today.
Is it a roll and write?
It is not a roll and write. I'm pretty sure I'm also done
That's the
with
way to
all
make
roll and
sure.
writes as well. So yeah, it's definitely the lightest on this chunk here. It is Parks.
Ooh.
I think I like Parks mainly because of the theme. Like, and not to say it's not mechanically sound as well, but I really love hiking. I love national parks. I love nature, as you've seen on like half of my picks so far. And this game, it is again that ratchet system, I guess, is what we're going with.
Nobody calls
Straight
it that.
ratchet.
I don't know.
The Hat Man does.
But you can go.
Catch-up system.
I guess the catch-up. I don't know. I'm gonna think on that one. You can go as far as you want to take whatever action you want, but then whoever's in the back gets to go again, and so you're going through and depending on the weather and collecting different symbols in order to visit different parks and collect snapshots of different parks. But I really love the artwork in this. Again, it's kind of has a nostalgic feel, just with the color choices and some of the oversaturation in it. It's just very nostalgic of places that I visited or have wanted to visit, and I really, really enjoy it. Again, this is probably like I said, the lightest game in this chunk, and also probably my most calming choice. Where it's just like, it's just relaxing. I just sit down and play in the parks.
The very opposite of Dune Imperium.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I am the opposite of Mansions of Madness and other choices I have coming up, which are not relaxing.
I don't know, when somebody takes that space you need, it's like, I need that symbol.
The bear!
Exactly.
Yeah.
We should try this one.
I've played it.
somehow-
It's fun. I mean,
Somehow
it's
just
very light.
slipped
Yeah,
right by
it is
us.
very light, right. So, but it's good. So my number 39 is parks.
Nice. 38.
38.
Yes.
My 38 is parks. What was 39? Did we do that? Oh, we did do that.
We
Look
did.
at
We've
that.
been here for
Look at
a couple rounds.
Traveled through time at the speed of time.
Look at that. I had a pick for 39, but this was 38.
Nice. Well, my 38 was actually 73 4 years ago, so things have moved up. Actually, I have a couple. Nope, I have 3 that have moved up so far on this list. So they're oldies but goodies, and I think that they have warmed up over the time. You know what I mean? Like I've been able to savor them. So this one is 5 Tribes. We actually replayed this recently as well, and it's just such a nice, clean system. I think this was crossover. You already talked about this one, right?
I did. It was in my 90s, and somebody criticized me for that. Big
Because
time.
it was so low.
It was so low.
So low we can't hear you. So in this game, you're basically Mancala mechanisming your meeples, and you're moving them around to wherever they land. They have to land on a matching color, and then you take those and however many of that color there is, and you perform an action based on it. But Chris and I were talking about this as we were walking one night, and we're like, I bet we can remember this game. We haven't played it in like 7 years, but I bet that we can remember all the rules to this game. We basically did. It's clean. There's some really cool ways to score points. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You can get special powers from the djinns if you want to. You cannot. You can work on, set collection. You can just go for area control on the board because each spot has points. There's just a lot of different things that you can do. I think it's very clean. It looks old, and I wish that it had kind of a more modern, updated feel, like aesthetically. But overall, I just think that it's such a good, clean game, and so just given time, it has moved way up on my list.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does it look old? That really bothers me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't
It
know
looked
that.
like.
But you
Style
look at
games.
Ticket to Ride, and Ticket to Ride shows its age. Like the cover just clearly are just paintings of people that they superimpose.
Right.
I mean, I think the cover's prettier than the actual board, but the actual board is.
It's just a desert.
Really?
though.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I don't know.
Looked fine to me.
I
Yeah,
think it still looks
I don't
sharp.
know that I would.
It feels old to me.
Well-
Maybe it's just because it was one of the early on games that I played.
Maybe that's it.
And
I
so
mean,
it just
because
has that feel.
I played this for the first time, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, and I didn't immediately think ooh, this game is old. I didn't know I was playing a game that's that old.
Yeah, maybe it just
You
is
know?
my experiences. I've been
Right.
playing this for almost a
Yeah.
decade.
That could be
that.
it. It just makes you
Yeah.
think back to when we were early and
Yeah, that could
getting
be
interested
it.
in gaming.
That could definitely be it. So that's my number 38, 5 Tribes.
My number 38 is a worker placement game, but it's a worker placement game where you have these gigantic castle walls that you're building up and trying to defend your castle, and this is After the Empire. So this is a game where you're trying to build up your castle, going through these different actions, and trying to get units and mercenaries to be able to fill up your castle, but then also you have to have food to feed your warriors. But it's got a very interesting thing in this game that I haven't really seen in other games. It's kind of a little bit of press your luck almost, because the more points you have, the more dangerous the bad guys that are attacking your castle are. So there's a little bit of tower defense or point defense that you're trying to do in this game as the game goes along. And it's very there's a lot of kind of stress almost of being afraid of having too many points. So it's kind of like, man, I want to gain points, but I also want to, because money is your points in this game, but you can spend the money to make your points go back down. But at the end of the game, you have to have the most points to win. So it's like you want to press up, but the other players, you want them to be ahead of you, because then more bad guys will fight them. So it's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic as the game goes along. But it's really exciting as you're building up your towers and doing warriors and finding ways to like stop the waves and waves of bad guys that are coming up. Some of the bad guys that are coming to attack you are revealed, so you know exactly what's coming. You're like, okay, I need to have 3 guys on this wall and 4 guys on this wall. Some are face down, so you have to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to surround all the walls to try to protect, but I have a turret here, so that'll do damage. There's a lot of interesting things that you have to think about in this game to try to just protect your victory points, because if the bad guys come over your wall and get into your thing, you get sacked and you lose some of your points. But then you're not going to have to worry as much about bad guys coming and hitting you as bad next time. So it's like this interesting aspect of back and forth of like, how do you hold on to your points? How do you build up your stuff? And it's a game that I think a lot of people haven't played yet, but they really should try out, because it's got a lot of unique things going for it, and that is After the Empire.
I watched you and Tom play it, and
it's very interesting.
I'm half really interested and half like,
it's crazy.
Don't raid my castle.
It's interesting because it's a worker placement game that you can get punished in, but also when you get punished, then you won't get as punished as bad the next time, you know? Yeah. And like if your stuff gets destroyed, you can still use those resources to build walls back. It's interesting. It's got a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Like something you'd like.
It almost feels like compensation, even though it's not.
Yeah, no,
I mean, there is a bit of compensation for getting blown up. So, but yeah, it's fun, and it's got these cool 3D walls. So that is After the Empire.
All right, let's go back to boring, dry Euros. For my number 37, let's go to St. Petersburg. Oh man, look at that! Look at that cover!
Speaking of games that look dated.
Well, you know what? The good news,
copy.
they made a second edition of this game with a newer cover. That's worse.
That's worse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Worse than a pink horse?
This is the better looking version with My Little Pony Rapid Dash or whatever her name is. So St. Petersburg is a pure, very pure engine building game.
Okay.
Cards come out into the display. You can purchase them. In the first round, you put out green cards. You purchase them, and then you trigger off green card income, which is a lot more money. Then you get blue cards, and you can purchase those, and those mostly give you like victory points. And then you earn the income from that. Red cards, and then the last one. It's such a weird balancing act of trying to make sure you have enough money to last you all 4 phases of being able to, I want to purchase the red nobles because they're worth a lot of points if I collect a lot of them. But if I spend all of them in the red phase, if I spend all my money on a nice new record player, I won't have money by the time the green phase comes back, so I can hire more basic workers that give me more money. It is such an interesting and strange balancing act. Your engine that you build up is phenomenal because all you're doing is getting money and points. And so you can get like a ton of points and maybe kind of, bankrupt yourself a little bit too easily, or you can get way too much money. And, as the game is progressing, you're like, I need to get more points. Because every point building you get early, it just keeps giving you those dividends. I love it. It's also so beautiful.
Wait, what?
Can I have a horse like that, honey?
Yeah, go find one in nature that looks just like that, and you can have it.
I think my daughter drew that picture.
More like a pony too, right? It's also really small.
It's really
like the
tiny.
size of a donkey.
I think he's sitting on the back of a different horse. You just can't see it.
Well, where's that what?
I-
No, where's his head?
I don't know.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oof. But
That's rough.
but it still looks better than the second edition, in
All
my
right,
opinion.
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Oh, it's
Make a note.
hilarious. I think we might have a
Nice.
copy in the library. So anyway,
Fantastic.
my number 37, St. Petersburg.
My number 37 is a deduction game that can be played solo or competitively or cooperatively, and I will only play it cooperatively. It is Stop Thief.
Ooh.
Will you play it cooperatively solo?
No, that's
not cooperative.
nope. Just
She doesn't play
just
nicely by
cooperatively.
herself.
Right? Yeah. No, I don't play that. No. So in Stop Thief, it is, again, has an app that goes with it. This is the new version of it. It's part of Restoration Games, taken from a 1970s, I think, I don't know, game. They restored it and updated it. And so it has an app with it, and each round you will start your turn by listening to a sound, which is either an outdoor sound, an inside walking, a door opening, or a window smashing. And so you're playing as cops who are trying to catch a thief, to stop the thief. And so there's 4 different buildings that the thieves are going in between and trying to loot and to break into. And so you're hearing these series of sounds. So it's deduction, and as you hear these series of sounds, you're trying to put together, okay, well, they were outside, and then they were outside again, and then the window smashing. And we knew that they started here, so now we know they can either be at this window or this window.
Right.
We think they're going to be here. I'm going to head this way, but just in case, you head that way. And so you're trying to deduce these sounds. And what I love about this game is you think you have it. There's certain parts of every game I played where it's like, we definitely know where they are. We definitely know because we just caught them, you know? And then you're like, okay, so that means that this sound is next and this sound, so this is the only possible place they could be. They're definitely here. And so then you type in the code and you're like, wait, they're not there? Like, I have no idea. And there's
And you're like, oh, they're there.
Or even worse, you're like, I truly don't know where I went wrong, you know? and so, but it's a lot of fun, and so then you're going back and you're trying to remember the sounds. I've also played this with my 9-year-old as well, and we use little tokens to just to help him visualize, okay, so now it could be here, 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 or here. You know, as adults, we'll play without that, so it's that little added bit of memory and deduction, but for him just to be able to visualize it, similar to what we do in Micro Macro when we play with young kids, is using the little tokens out to annotate the board. So we'll do that in here as well, and I really like that again, it just expands who can play this game as well, but it is, I've used this in kind of that filler category, starting off game night a couple times, and it's always a challenge and a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, 37.
And you said co-op only. That's the mode you like playing. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only way I have any interest in playing.
All right.
So,
Cool.
Did we play cooperatively? No, we played competitively.
I think we played
right?
competitively. It
Yeah.
has that little odd thing of get money, make change.
I remember just feeling like it was okay.
Right.
It was interesting, but just okay.
Right, competitively, it really is this whole, and you're only one person, and so you can be on the complete other side of the board, and you're like, hey, there's no way I can catch
You're
them,
like, I
so
just
you
made
can
the
get
wrong
caught
choice.
out of it,
Sure.
right? And so I like I said, I read through it and kind of dummy played it, you know, and I was like, I have zero interest playing this competitively, but cooperatively, I think it's fantastic, and some really interesting decisions of spreading out, but also you can get there quicker, but they might go this way, so I'm going to go back up there, because you know they can't back up on themselves, and so, you know, just some really, it has neat cooperative elements to it. So my number 37, Stop Thief.
Interesting.
There you go.
It almost makes me think of Scotland Yard, but
Kind of
the
like that
app
sort of thing.
is running it for you.
Right, okay,
Instead of
yeah.
someone else making those choices. All right, my number 37 used to be number 70, another one that moved up. And this is Grand Austria Hotel. This is such a cool Euro game where thematically you're having people come into your hotel and they're going to your fancy restaurant. You're going to feed them what they want, and then you're going to put them up in a room. And based on where they are in the room, depends on what points you get and how, finishing rows and doing things with columns and stuff. It's very interesting how the points work there, and I really enjoy the feeding the people, getting the right cubes at the right time, and trying to do all that. Also, what do they represent? They represent fancy things,
Strudels
like wine
and
and
glasses of
strudel,
wine.
and yeah,
There you go.
I don't know. So the cubes are cute. But there's also
The cubes
a
are cute.
track, and I don't know if it's a favor track or a prestige track or something, but there's this track that you're moving up on every single round, but at the end of the round, depending on where you're at, either bad stuff happens to you, kind of nothing happens, or really good stuff can happen. And so you want to move up as far as you can on that, but when you're moving up on that, you're not doing other stuff. You're not helping other people as much. And so it's a very cool thing, but at the end of every round, you move down a certain amount of spaces. And so it's this constant push and pull. And I find that to be very interesting while you're doing everything else. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
I think that this is one I dare say you might enjoy because there is always something cool happening.
Okay.
You can run out of money. That's the biggest thing, to be aware of. But you can have a lot of fun. You're feeding guests and you're putting them into rooms, and the whole hotel room mechanism is so satisfying of a little puzzle, and so you're just constantly getting stuff out of it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe.
That's good things.
Maybe that's a strong recommendation from Chris. You might like this.
Yeah, it's another oldie but goodie. 37 is That was weird. I was trying to read it off there, and I was
Grand
what was it?
Austria.
Grand Austria
Grand
Hotel.
Austria.
And I saw it was Austria.
My number 37 is Battle Yahtzee, and that is Dice Throne.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dice Throne is a lot of fun. Basically, you have different characters, and also this includes the Marvel Dice Throne as well. So I like regular Dice Throne and Marvel Dice Throne. I've played it a bunch of different like combinations of different characters and things like that. I just really enjoy the way this game works. You basically just roll your dice. There's also a little bit of card play as well that can help you manipulate those dice and upgrade your different like things. I mean, you're honestly just trying to get like a large straight or like get this combo of symbols. But you can upgrade those things and they make them very thematic. Like if you're playing Miles Morales, you're like shooting webs and like turning invisible and dodging stuff. If you're playing a gunslinger, you might have bullets that you're able to shoot stuff. The tokens make this game interesting because there's all sorts of different flair and status effects and all sorts of different craziness going on. It feels very much like if Yahtzee and like Magic the Gathering style thing had like this more casual like hybrid, you know. So it's a very interesting game that I really enjoy, and it's just a fun game to just chuck some dice and hit each other over the head and knock each other out, you know. So I've had a lot of fun with Dice Throne, and it's been great. So that's why it's my number 37.
It does, yeah. With really bad aim.
There you go.
No
Make it happen. Dice Throne.
Depth
Throw the
perception.
dice.
I'm gonna
At
keep doing
all.
this until Mike hits the button. All right, my number 36, I believe was said by Wendy already, Rajas of the Ganges. This is such a cool worker placement game. You are placing out workers to get resources, but those resources are dice. After you get those resources, you roll them, and they're a value 1 through 6. And the low numbers are really good for certain things. The high numbers are really good for other things, and so it's a fun mix of whatever I roll, I can roll with it, and then. You know,
I like what you did there.
yes, thank you. I
danced
didn't.
to what you did there.
Oh yeah, that's
It
a
gave-
response.
it gave you a head
She
bob.
danced to it.
Did you lean with it? Did you roll with it? No? With it.
All right, so this is a fantastic game. We tried the roll and write actually, and it's pretty fun.
did.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but
Weekend.
I still prefer the big boy here,
Solid.
the original one here. But it's so fun. There's some good dice manipulation and stuff, but it has route connection, has the little Carcassonne thing going on. It's got dice mitigation. It's got worker placement. It's got a lot of just like really fun little like, you know, hits the dopamine buttons in lots of different spots in my brain.
You get
so,
stuff a lot in this game.
Yeah. Rajas of the Ganges.
My number 36 gets compared a lot, too much, I think, to Dune Imperium. I can see
I don't know
kind
what
of a
game this
connection.
is.
I'm pretty sure everyone
I don't
knows
think it
that.
should be compared
No,
that
but
much.
I really find them completely different games.
They're very different.
Right, Lost Ruins of Arnak. I like Lost Ruins of Arnak. I like, you talked earlier about in Dune Imperium being able to lean your deck, or keeping a lean deck, and I think that's one thing I like about Arnak is Lost Ruins of Arnak is I feel like I can have a leaner deck in this. You really have control, like you were saying, because you always want to spend the money, so then you end up overdoing
Doing
your
so
deck,
much
right?
and stuff,
And I feel like there's a lot more things to do in Lost Ruins of Arnak with your resources, so you're not just wasting those resources. If you're like, I don't want to beef up my deck, oh, okay, I'm going to use this for the research track instead, or I'm going to, you know, and so I just feel like there's more that you never waste anything in this, but yet I can still maintain that really lean deck, that really lean, powerful deck where it's like you can play those odds and you know what's coming up next, and I think it's gorgeous. I think it's really smooth play. I think the expansion was exactly what was needed, not bringing a lot of complexity to it, but giving some variety and just a little oomph to it. I don't know that I would call it essential, but I would always play with it at the same time, you know, and I really, really enjoy. I was talking about with Dune Imperium how it's been that slow boil, you know, and it's been like, went from like, I'm not excited to play, but fine, I will, it's my job, to, you know, like, oh yeah, cool, I'm excited to play. Now it's like, hey, let's play this, and I'll recommend it. Lost Ruins of Arnak, from that first play, it's like, yes, I'm always in if
Gotcha.
someone's like, want to play this, you know, and so this one just sang to me.
I bet you like the theme more too. Do you enjoy adventure and?
I mean, I'm fine with the theme. I mean, Indiana Jones, you know, kind of is not one I love, but I think that this one, over a book series that I have no connection to, yes, I am more into this theme, you know. So yeah. So my number 36 is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I'll say I've played this a few times online recently on Board Game Arena.
Make sure not to click the screen in the wrong place.
Oh, I really whipped my end game by buying the wrong card, and I was like, undo, where is it? But that is, oh, wow, thanks for bringing back awful memories, Roy. No, what I'll say is, I've played it a few times without the expansion, and I'm like, I sure wish I was the bird person. You know, I sure wish
Right.
that I had the third worker. Like,
Right.
that expansion's really good.
It's just good.
I've never played this with the expansion, but I mean, it's very much, you know, go up there, get the tracks. Does expansion change that up to like make more viable strategy, or is it still very much just push up that track for the entire game?
I feel like there's more viable strategy elsewhere. You still need to do the tracks, but it's not necessarily first the top of the tracks and who builds the most is
Okay, cool,
going to be
cool.
the winner. So I think it does give more, it's more forgiving in
cool.
you going other routes and not just being solely focused on the track.
And the track changes.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
that's
as
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it changes,
Right.
right, and that's
Yeah.
why it makes it not as heavy of a decision. It's like there's some really good benefits earlier on the track so that
Oh,
it's
cool.
not like that race to get to the good stuff to then,
Yeah.
you know, translate into points. So,
Nice.
yeah, 36.
Good stuff.
Alrighty.
My number 36 used to be 22. It's gone down a little bit, but it's still a very awesome game, and it's a crossover from Chris's 37. This is St. Petersburg.
Nice. There you
Yeah. Good game. Same ugly color, same ugly art.
I'm disappointed you didn't put the new cover on there.
You
Yeah,
know,
well, I need
we
to
only
see
keep
it.
one in our game catalog of pictures because there's only one worth it. No, I really love the engine building and the decisions in this game of the choices of, do I want to be earning money? Do I want to be earning points? Am I going to save that money long enough so that I can get more income later? Like, there's just really good decisions in this. I also appreciate that in the fourth phase of the round, if you look up there in the picture, like there's the multicolored cards. And so you start with the green phase, they trigger off, you get that income. Blue phase, you get that income. Orange phase, you get that income. That last phase is just full of wild colors. So you could get, not really wild colors, but it's a variety of colors. So you can get a really cool green card, a really cool orange card, a really cool blue card, but you don't get that income immediately. And I find that to be such an interesting push and pull. If it's at the very end, everything, like you're running real poor at this point, but they're like the best cards. And so it's very cool. There's some awesome set collection. I enjoy a lot about it, and it's okay that it's not ugly. That doesn't affect me.
It's okay
at
that
all.
it's not ugly?
No, it's okay that it is ugly.
Oh.
Yeah, doesn't affect
They
me.
tried their best with those colored pencils. They really did.
They did not. They really did not. Number 36, St. Petersburg is awesome.
My number 36 is another Cthulhu Mythos game in the Arkham Files universe. Normally I would thin this out. Normally in past years I'd like thin this out, but I play so many of these games and I feel like they're very different. This one is Eldritch Horror.
Yes,
This is the one where it's
you
going
are.
across the entire world, running around. One of the cool things I really like about this game is that you have your unique character, but you can get a lot of like items and upgrades as the game goes along, and trying to figure out how to maximize those things. And there's all sorts of different objectives, and depending on the great old one you're playing with, the objectives can be very different. It feels like you're a globe-trotting adventurer trying to figure out how to stop these great elder gods. I mean, that's the theme of the game, but it gives you more of that feel and that flavor. I've played this game a ton with my dad, which I think I recently played it one of the times I went up to visit him recently. We got massacred in the game, but I still had a blast playing it. So it's just a game that I just keep coming back to and still really enjoy, even after I've played other games in the series. So Eldritch Horror.
Yeah, it's
My
good.
36.
I would say what I really like about this is what you touched on there, how you have your individual characters with your individual stats, but you further individualize them with
Yeah.
the items and stuff. You know what I mean?
I like in this
it's-
one that you get a lot of upgrades as the game goes
You
along.
really
And
do.
you can be like, okay, this is going to give me extra dice, and this is going to upgrade that stat, and this is going to
Right.
give me this power, and this spell will let me teleport you over there. You know, that
Right,
sort of
which
thing.
just furthers that cooperation, which furthers that, you know, specialization, which is yeah, I really like that about this game
This
as well.
was our first like big open adventure game that we played.
We rented this from a board game store that like lets you rent specific games that they had in their little cupboard.
Right, yeah.
And so it was like, okay, we're gonna bring this home and we're gonna bring it back in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I remember just reading the mythos and the story behind it on the way home in the car ride because we
Yeah.
were so jazzed about it.
I want to say this is my first Cthulhu Mythos game I played.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think there was
great.
anything
We
before.
played it
Went-
4 times that weekend.
yeah.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
played it a lot. And then we
Wow.
bought it. Then we bought some expansions and the expansions just made it harder.
Oh,
Yeah,
and everything
yeah,
they add to it
yeah.
makes
Sure.
it harder. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, Eldritch Horror, my 36.
All right, number 35. I forgot to mention the last few games have been on my list before. But anyway, here, this one, Raiders of the North Sea, is my number 35. This at one point
More
was...
Micho. Love for the Micho.
At this, well, at one point this was my number 11 game 4 years ago, but this is still so good. I think Wendy talked about it
47,
before, under
yeah.
47. Unique use of worker placement. Put out a worker and then pull back a worker activate both spots. Unless you go raiding, and when you go raiding, you can upgrade workers, and you also get cool rewards and stuff. And the more that I talk about this, the more guilty I feel that I still haven't played it with you, Roy. Because I think that,
I blame
think
Mike.
Me too.
I like that.
Blame Mike. That's our official campaign slogan. What more can be said? This game is talked about a lot, so I love it. My
Are
number
you saying
35.
you rated it highly?
I might say that. It's also definitely my highest rated North Sea game. So there you go. Number
stuff.
35.
All right, my number 35 is one of my go-to gateway game, or not gateway, I guess, entry-level games. What do you call it? Welcoming games. There it is, welcoming games. And I know I catch flack for that because people say it is not a welcoming game, but I'm friends with smart people. So my number 35 is The Reckoners. And the reason this is such a welcoming game for me is because I think there's something for everybody in this game. You know, everyone's played Yahtzee. Most people have played Yahtzee. They understand that. And, you know, some people have read the books. Some people like superheroes, and so they understand the theme here, where this is like anti-superhero, because the superheroes are bad, so you're fighting against them. Some have read the books, and they understand the characters and the locations, and they get into that. But then, at the end of the day, its mechanisms are straightforward ones they're familiar with as well. So I feel like it's a very relatable game to a lot of people, and it absolutely requires cooperation to win. You know, you have to roll your dice, and the Yahtzee is simultaneous, and so it has that simultaneous play as well, so you're always involved. And as you're going through and rolling and taking your Yahtzee rolls, your 3 rolls, you are having to, okay, I really need to get this icon, you know, and I'm gonna, okay, I have not gotten that icon at all. Let's switch gears before we do our second roll. Does anyone else get that? Okay, why don't you keep going for that, and you're switching, and someone else go for something else. So it's this constant conversation. It's not just simultaneous play and simultaneous rolls, but also like constant reevaluating the situation and cooperation, you know, and how is this playing out, you know, and then once it plays out, it's actually looking at the board and be like, oh wait, we forgot about this. Let's reevaluate. Or I have this one symbol left. What can we do with it? How can we maximize it? So it really is min-max the Yahtzee game, you know, in this with a anti-superhero theme and Brandon Sanderson's name. Like I find it very relatable to a lot of different groups. And I see you laughing at me, so I'm just going to keep saying stuff so you can't drop whatever mean joke you're holding.
I just like min-max the Yahtzee game.
Oh, okay, good.
That's cool.
So my number 35 is one of my go-to games for new people just kind of getting into the hobby is The Reckoners.
She introduced it to us. We must be new people just getting into the hobby.
No, I think you guys wanted to play this one.
we did.
Yeah, you guys asked to play this one.
I'm a Brandon Sanderson fan,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because you can relate to it.
Most definitely. I can. All right, my number 35 was 89 before. I'm surprised it's moved up so much. I'm not a huge dexterity fan game, but there's something that's just so silly, especially in giant groups, and that is tumbling dice.
Oh, nice.
It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You're throwing your dice, you're multiplying by wherever it lands, and you're trying to knock other people off. It's basic, it's simple. I love it. It's fun at conventions when you get like the giant group of like 20 or 30 people,
yeah.
and they're just
You
going
shove,
in
like-
a circle, and there's just
Yep.
like mounds of dice.
It's
And
like
it's
the
just
human rondel
utter
going down.
chaos.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it comes with like 4 colors of dice, but Tom's like, not enough.
Right.
Put some D20s in there.
I was about to say, yeah, I've never, like, the game comes with D6s, but I've never played this game with just D6s. It's always, like, Tom has all the different crazy dice added in there. It's
I didn't realize it was only
that makes
D6s.
it
Like, now them look at this
so
picture.
much better
Yeah, I'm
having,
like,
like,
oh.
I think
like
that's why
a
it's gone up
D20
on my
multiplied
list.
by 4
Yeah.
is like, yes! But it's on the 1, and you're like, no!
Right? It makes it so swingy. Right. I had no idea. I didn't play
Utter
base
crowd
game.
chaos. So yeah, come to one of our conventions and play tumbling dice with us.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Silly
A
fun.
lot of
I
fun.
really love it.
It gets played about 72, 73 times per convention.
I believe it. So that's my number 35, which I guess should be more like 72, because that's how much it gets played.
There you go.
Tumbling dice.
Redo the lists.
My number 35 is not really a crossover with Chris on this number, but it kind of is. And this is Champions of Midgard. This is the Viking-themed worker placement game that I have played a ton of. But I really enjoy this game. It has that ability to, you're basically different Vikings, and it's worker placement, trying to get food and get different units. But then you're taking those different dice that you're using for combat against different monsters, and defeating those monsters gives you points. So I really enjoy the way this works out. And with the expansion, even when your units die, they go to Valhalla, and you can use their spirits to gain other abilities and cards and and things like that. So even when your stuff dies, sometimes you're just like, I really need my Berserker guy to die, so that way I have an extra pink token, so that way I can get that card, you know? So sometimes you kind of are like, oh, if the monster kills it, that's fine. But I've really enjoyed playing this game and just getting those dice and like setting yourself up to like to fight and defeat monsters to get the points in this game is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things going on in this overall, just trying to figure out how to prep for going on the journey to fight monsters, going into the mountains to fight giants. It's very exciting as the game goes around. So I've had a blast with Champions of Midgard, and I still love to play it. So that's why it's my number 35.
I could see you enjoying this one more than Raiders simply because this is more like Vikings.
Yeah,
you know?
it gives you that
Yeah.
excitement. I like. I mean,
feels.
it's a Euro game with luck. For some reason, I like Euro games that give you that edge of excitement or not really knowing what's going on, but then trying to find ways to mitigate that luck and push it back into your favor. And this game's all about that. Like, how many warriors do I need to take? More warriors. Take all the warriors. Because if you're
When
chucking,
out more
listen, if I'm
warriors.
chucking all the dice and just completely obliterate the monster, that's better than just barely having enough.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
I might have a blast with this, and that's Champions of Midgard, my number 35.
You know, we had 2 of these in the library, and Tom just got rid of one.
Well, I already
only
have the
have
game, and I'm keeping it in my library.
But it's still there.
Boom.
Number 34 was not on my list 4 years ago. I don't even know if it's available in the United States 4 years ago, but it's available now. It's a small little card game from Alexander Pfister titled Tibor the Builder. Tibor der Baumeister. Yay! Look how exciting that cover is. So,
Tell me more.
yeah, so it comes in a box like yay big, right? It's just cards. But what's great about it is it's a drafting game. You have a hand of 5 cards, you pick one, pass the other one along, you just keep doing that in a circle, but each one has multiple different uses. You can either put it onto the top of your board, and that's going to make discounts when you try to build different color buildings. On the right-hand side is strength that you can use to build buildings, or you can discard them to build buildings. It's very, very small in scope. You know, it sounds like it's very small in scope, but I really enjoy just the dynamics of, I want to draft this one card out of 5. Which purpose do I want to use it for? And so there's a neat layering of decisions, even though it sounds like that sounds like barely a game. I really like it. It's also a card drafting game that works extremely well at 2 people because you know some of the cards that are going to be bouncing back and forth to you. So you say, oh, which do I grab first? It has that push your luck feel to it. And it's really satisfying for just such a small box game. I know I like this more than pretty much anybody else, probably more than designers themselves. So I always forget to mention Dennis Rappel is one of the other designers. And sorry, I just say it's a Pfister game. But there you go. My number 34,
I like that.
Tibor the Builder.
I like the multiple use cards that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just good decisions. Good
Interesting.
decisions.
Very
for
That's
sure.
crazy.
My number 34 had like an emotional, I don't know, as an arc if it goes down. But I saw the cover and I was so excited about this game. And then I opened the box and I tried to think of any reason to not play this game because I was like, oh, that hurts. And then I played it and I really liked it. So we ended on a good note and now we're at 34. My 34 is Deus.
Got it.
Oh, I love that cover. Oh, but the board doesn't look like it at all. In Deus, you have 5 different, I guess 6 different color of cards that you are playing from your hand and also refreshing as you go. And it's an engine builder, and they each have some sort of action. So some of them are military actions, so that you're going to go out and be placing your soldiers on the board and marching across the land and taking over different places. Some of them are trading actions, so you're gathering resources and trying to set up an engine there. And similar to how we were talking in Gizmos, when you trigger one of the actions, it triggers the whole lineup of them. And so you're not only trying to trigger those, but making sure you're triggering things in the right order, and when are you refreshing your hand. I like I think this is the first time I've used this word in this chunk of top 10, but I like the decision space of this game. You know, am I going to go more military heavy? But if you completely, ignore your trade, then you're really not going to have the resources you need. You know, and so it's a balance, but also these different strategy lines that you can go down. Also, again, with that luck, we talk about. I really like that luck and that luck mitigation and maximizing what chance throws your way, you know? And so, but then if the luck doesn't go your way, there is that way to mitigate, to really kind of flesh out your hand. So I just really think that this game has a lot of mitigation, a lot of decision space, and I really, really was pleased with my plays of it. And I did find that in one of my plays, you know, we definitely thought there was a very clear winner, and we were all surprised that person didn't win, you know, and it was like, oh, and that's always fun. It's like when you think it's all open information out there, and then you're like, oh, but wait, you know, and I really like kind of those end game surprises, you know, as you see the engine that other people might be building up as well. So my number 34 was a surprise to me. Deus.
Nice. I like surprises. I also like good decision space. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, my number 34 is a very obvious name, and it is Push. This is a crossover with Chris from last time, or time before,
some miles back.
Sometime back then. Was this on? This wasn't on my list before. That wasn't out then. So this is a super basic push or luck game where you're filling up 3 stacks of cards, but you can't ever repeat a number or a color. If you do, you bust. You don't get anything, and you have to roll the die of terribleness and lose everything that you have banked up to that color, or of that color. And then everybody else gets to steal your card stacks. And so it's a very cool push or luck game. I appreciate it that there's interaction on other turns of I'm building up 3 stacks, but I only get to keep one of them, and so I want to make the other ones as low as possible. So do I keep going so that my stack gets bigger, or do I stop because then Roy and Chris only get 1s instead of 5s and 6s and these big numbers. So I enjoy the decision. It's very quick and easy, and it's one of those games that you can start your turn and just explain while you play it, pass it on to the next person, and you're already playing, you're going. I think that's awesome, especially with push or luck games. So that's my number 34. Push.
Awesome. Fantastic pick.
Stop hitting me.
My number 34 is a space-themed tableau building game called Race for the Galaxy. This is a game that you have simultaneous actions where everybody selects a card, you flip it up, and then the player that chose, everybody does all the actions you chose, but the player that chose it gets a bonus. There's a lot of crazy iconography in this game that makes it a little bit harder for new people to learn, but when you play with someone that really knows the game, it is very fast-paced and really fun going back and forth. And I love the kind of like the little bit of engines you can build up in the game, like this produces this, and I can send into this and get these points. Those things are really exciting and fun in the game, and you're trying to go for crazy developments that help combo all the points together with the stuff that you've built out on the table so far. Race for the Galaxy is a game that's been around for a long time, and I think a lot of games have kind of like gleaned stuff from it, and I still really enjoy Race for the Galaxy as well. So
I mean, there's like 3 more games made in the same line even.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I haven't played this in ages, and I had only played it once. And I tried playing it on Board Game Arena with no rules instructions.
Oh, wow.
And it was a hot mess, and I feel bad for whoever was playing with me.
Yeah, there's a lot of iconography, and basically like you have like the planets are like circles, but then the red color means it's military, so you can't discard cards to play it. You actually need military in play to play those out. But I really enjoy the way the game comes together, and it's really fast paced, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, if you play again on Board Game Arena, if you hold your finger down if you're on a phone or mouse over on a computer, it'll explain to you exactly what a card does, so the symbology makes more sense. So this is one of the games I might actually only play digitally at this point.
Right.
Because I love that to be like,
It's just clear.
oh, got it. Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Race for the Galaxy.
My number 33 was on my list 4 years ago when I did it, and it was at 29 back then. So even though this dropped 4 whole spots, I mean, that's some staying power. My number 33 is Nexus Ops. Another dude on a map, fight him, smash him.
I love this game.
Oh, it's so good. This is one of the simplest kind of games of this type, I think. And it's funny because that's the Fantasy Flight Games reprint cover, but the Avalon Hill first print components.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think both look good. The Avalon Hill cover looks atrocious, but I love the little pieces and stuff.
Those neon
Do they
things are
glow?
ridiculous.
They do glow in the dark.
Well, they're fluorescent.
Or
they don't
black
glow.
light.
They need a black light to glow. But
That's
Okay.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
think I
anyway,
would prefer black
I bet you could
light.
play this. Yeah, playing this with a black light would be cool.
yeah, that looks cool.
so I don't always love these run around, smash each other, get into fights, roll dice, and combat each other kind of games. But this one works for me, I think, because it's familiar. If you played Risk, you understand move into a space, roll dice, and stuff. But combat phase is really quick because you only go through each array of units one time. If you don't eliminate the other player, you don't get a combat point, right? And so every time you win a combat, you get a point. It's a race to, I forget, 12 or 15 points. But every turn you draw secret objective cards, and so my secret objective might be to smash a lava leaper anywhere on the board. I don't care if I win that battle. I get 3 points if I squelch a lava leaper. That's a hard thing to do. And so you have, over the course of the game, all these increasing secret objectives you're going for. And I love that, because then the winner's not always the person who just rolled the dice the best. It's about playing towards your secret objective points. And so many times it's a fun surprise. Like you said, a surprise ending is a fun ending. So
Oh, interesting.
I love it. I love Nexus Ops, my 33.
Very cool.
I love it.
My number 33 is a game I wanted to play for a really long time. I want to say this was on my want to play list for like 2, maybe 3 years. Like I really, really wanted to play this, and I didn't have an opportunity until I came here to work because it is hard to find. And that is Automania.
Oh, wow.
Automania, I really enjoyed that. In fact, we played this one live as well. But in Automania, you are setting up, you have your assembly line in front of you in order to manufacture cars. And each round, you are manufacturing a car right out of the bat from the very first round. And I love that you're not building up for some big engine and then trying to send it through at the right time. You're always sending a car through. So right out of the gate, you know you're going to be manufacturing one, and you want to try to get the best one possible, but also set yourself up for that second and third and fourth round. And so it's not just building an assembly line, it's building this kind of, I guess, malleable assembly line, as you build it up and you change it depending on different goals and where are you going to sell them in the American market versus the UK market. And I really like, again, back to that decision space. Probably the last time I'll use that word today. We'll see. But
Most
yeah,
for games have
just
no
throw it out all
decision
the time.
space.
right.
Just more the card.
Just more decision space. And so this is one that, again, I was really excited to play. And the more I heard about it, the more I saw it, played online. I really wanted to play it, but then I was nervous to play it because it's like, oh man, have I overhyped it to myself? And it really did live up to it. I really, really enjoyed that play, and getting it to the table a couple times since. So my number 33 did not disappoint, or has not disappointed, I should say. Automania.
I haven't played this in years. And we didn't play it that many times when we had it. But I remember Tom, for like a Catch-a-Palooza or something, he was like, oh yeah, we'll play Automania. It's super quick and simple. And I was like, I don't remember this game being like super quick and simple.
Right.
So I clearly have grown as a gamer or something since then. Or I was playing a different version, one or the other.
Yeah.
I'd like to revisit this one.
Yeah.
It's been
It would be
years.
interesting.
I really, really like it. I will revisit it with you.
Sounds good.
So
Sounds
excellent.
Good. But adrenaline first.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the highest on our list,
yes.
definitely.
Awesome. And thank you, Mike, for the super chat.
Ooh, snap.
Ooh, awesome. All right, my number 33 is Gutenberg. I'm feeling a little more cult of the new now because those ones were real old, the last ones that I had. Gutenberg, we played this pretty recently for Chris and me, and I really like it. So thematically, you are printers, and you need the right color ink and the right expertise to be able to print fancy things and earn lots of points and all that kind of jazz. But mechanically, it is just a very lovely game. There's a lot going on. I appreciate the gears that you have. It's just very cool. And Tom has these upgrade pieces that are like to die for.
The little ink jars.
Their
you
little
see up
ink
there.
jars are adorable. The liquid inside, you can actually like shake it and move the liquid. It's
But I want to say that's
beautiful.
the only thing that he upgraded in this game, right? Because it has
Yeah.
really good components.
It does have
period.
really good
And so it's like
components.
there's not much to upgrade other than that.
Yeah.
Like the
But
base, not the base game, but the out of the box game has good components already.
Yeah, it won me over from the get-go. I really enjoy the sequencing of the turns and how you make decisions. The little player track, essentially, like the farther you are down in player order, the more pieces that you have, or little cubes. And then if you look at the little player track on the picture or on the screen, you're basically bidding for each action of what your player order is going to be specifically for that action. And so you're like, oh, well, I have more cubes because I'm later on in like winning ties, so to speak. But Chris has a lot less cubes. He has to be much more picky about what actions he can do and is willing to bet for. And so it's just really interesting the way that mechanism works and the interaction that goes on there. So yeah, Gutenberg, super fun game.
This is one that could climb up my list. Like it's not on my list, but it's outside of it. But I could see it getting on there because I want to see if it stands the test of time. Because I really like it.
I really like it. That's my number 33, Gutenberg.
Nice. My 33 is a worker placement game based off of a mobile app, which seems like it shouldn't work, and it's crazy that it is 33 on my list. This is Fallout Shelter. So Fallout Shelter is a worker placement game where you're all building your own little Fallout shelter, or you're kind of working together to build a Fallout shelter. You're each working on your own level. And basically, it's really simple because you have only 3 different types of resources you're trying to get: energy, food, and water. And those can kind of help you do different things. Energy is normally going to let you build out more rooms. Food is going to let you get more workers. And this is a worker placement game where you can just build a ton of different workers as the game goes along. But also, as people build up rooms, there's more spaces for everybody to go to. And then water is going to help you get like weapons and things like that, because there are going to be like bad guys and minions coming in and taking over your different parts of your area there. And they have these really cool like clear cards that are going to come in, and you can try to take those out as well. And people are going to want to take those out because they get rewards for taking out the different bad guys. I just really like the way this game works. It's really fast playing and really easy and simple to teach. And it's just a great, solid worker placement game. I remember we played this here at the Dice Tower, and like afterwards we were looking at each other like, is this game as good as we think it is? It was just shocking how a IP based on a like mobile app game. I really enjoy the Fallout IP, but I didn't expect this to be good, and it was just really solid. And I still bring it out, and I own the game. I went out and immediately bought a copy after playing it, so I like it a lot.
I had zero expectations going into it. I thought it was going to be trash.
Right.
And then yeah, it was like legit.
Even though Roy was like, it looks like trash, it comes in a tin lunchbox, but it's good. And when he's like, trash.
Yeah.
At the end of it, she was like, oh, this is both of us, so this is
It's
really
very
good.
light, and it has
cockroach.
right. It has one of those things that I like, where it's like worker placement, but it's got some combat mechanics in it. So
And
we
you
get
can
to
use each other's
blast them.
buildings and stuff. Like
If you can use each other's buildings, then you
Yeah.
get bonuses, sort of similar to other worker placement games where you get to build things up. It's a lot of fun. It works really well. So
Not
Fallout Shelter.
trash.
Not trash. Roy's number 33. Not trash.
Not trash. All right, before I go to my 32, thank you, KM, for the super chat. We do not know offhand how many of these are in each of our respective collections.
Right.
That would be an interesting follow-up maybe to do.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because a lot of ours
Conversations.
were once in our collection and they're
Yeah.
no longer in our
We're also
collection
probably
for
a
various
really
reasons.
bad group to ask that question to, because we are
We
very
use
lucky
Tom's
to have
collection.
access.
It's like a
to
2,000 game library.
Correct, right.
Right.
4
So-
feet that way.
Right, so it's, to make it our collection is a much higher justification, I think, than,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I don't know, I was going to say average, normal, but other people
Who don't happen to work at,
right, I don't know, yeah,
in a,
anyway.
in a board game library.
Yes.
But my number 32 is in my collection. It was once number 60 on my top 100 4 years ago, so it's moved up, probably because we've just been playing it so much more. Sushi Go Party.
Oh, wow.
This
That's
is this is so much fun.
Surprised it's so high.
Yeah,
I
that's why
like
I like this game.
card drafting a lot. I think it's a fun mechanism, and then I love doing the Dominion-esque thing where you can create a different lineup of cards for each game, shuffling those together and then passing the cards around. It's so satisfying. It's so cute. It's so adorable. I want to eat sushi very frequently.
Is it Sushi Wednesday
Always.
yet?
No, it's not.
It's
No,
I really want
It's,
to
not how
go
the days of the
to a
week work.
sushi party. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
oh,
Dinner tonight.
oh.
Yes.
Let's host a
have a-
sushi party.
I would
wish-
probably
Get
come. to that
sushi
party.
boats.
Okay,
and
one
make
of
it
my
happen.
most biggest disappointments of moving to Florida is that all you can eat sushi is not a thing at every single sushi place. Like in Las Vegas,
There's a place
every
that
sushi place
Oh.
is $25, $26, all you can eat sushi.
there's a place that me and Ruthie have gone that I think you guys haven't gone yet. It's really good.
How far away is it?
Really good. It's up near Kindle-ish, so it's not too bad.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
These
know.
are the
Is all you
important-
can eat?
All you can eat.
These are the important things you come
The-
here for.
What are we
Okay.
doing tonight
Yeah.
for dinner?
And I've totally text messaged this place to you guys before, and you just still haven't gone. So whatever.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Not to me, Chris.
Oh, that's
Clearly.
Y'all
That-
need
that
better
is the
communication.
problem.
The game was a great pick. My number 32, Sushi Go Party. A game so simple that we play it with our daughter, and she does accidentally win sometimes. So I like that combo of everything, like I
that's
said.
awesome.
So
Nice, yeah, very good.
Sushi Go
nice.
Party.
My number 32 is the last pandemic game. I think, have I done any pandemics? I don't think so. So probably the only pandemic game on my top 100
Oh, wow.
anymore. And that is because pandemic has been replaced by a game I'm going to talk later about. So my 32 is Pandemic Season 0 specifically. I love the Season 0 changes they made where you are making, you don't like it?
No.
We just never finished
we
it.
haven't finished it
We
yet.
played it
That's
right
really
before
good.
we
It's
moved.
the biggest game
and
we
just
ever
never.
tried.
Right, I think
picked it
even
back
not
up.
finishing it though, like right out, even just the prologue, I'm like, I love what this is doing with building the teams and being able to have the teams on the board. And so you're not just maneuvering yourself, but you are building teams and pushing them on the board to complete the different objectives. I love it. I think it is just the facelift this game needed. I don't know. I mean, and not just because the game is old. I think it was just it gave just more life and space that the game could go. I think just going into this from the very first January objectives, you're like, I can see maybe where this is going, and I'm so excited to get there. But it is also the only Legacy game that I've ever played where I play it and then I'm like, I almost want to buy a second copy just to have this system. You know, like I mean, even if I just never go through the Legacy, I want a standalone version of Season 0.
I almost wish they would take these and like take like the essential mechanics out of them and have like just a replayable version. It's like, I mean, I know some of them are like, oh, you can play it after it's all done, but then it's kind of like it's kind of convoluted at that point.
Right,
If they just had a rule book that was like, this is Pandemic Legacy like core zero core experience.
And these are the
with that same thing.
And you don't even play it until after you play the Legacy. That way you're not spoiling anything, but you take some of those different things that you would unlock and incorporate it. I love it.
It probably doesn't make financial sense for them because you have to play through 0 to want that. But it would still be a really cool product to have.
I mean, I remember playing through Season 1, and we held on to that forever afterwards. So like, we'll play it again, and we were just so burnt out from playing
for sure.
that many times. And we did try to give it to a friend for them to play, and it was too much.
We like peeled all the stickers off, we reset it to basic. But then the rule book had like a ton of stickers. Like, ignore these pages of rules. Never mind, just go buy a copy of Pandemic.
It's totally worth it, right? Yeah, this is the only Legacy game I've played, like I said, that I was like, I would play a standalone copy of this. And I wish, not just I would play it, like I want a standalone copy of this to the point that I might buy a second one just to have it and just play that prologue or pick and choose, you know, my own parts of the game that I like. But I really, really enjoyed this, and
sounds really fun actually.
It's
just a best of standalone
best of
game.
Legacy or whatever would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my number 32 is Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
My number 32 is kind of another Cult of a New game. This is exciting. It is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So it has a lot. There's a lot going on. You've got what is the game that you just mentioned previously?
Race for the
Galaxy. Yeah. So this is it's got a lot of that Race for the Galaxy feel in the sense of like everyone picks an action and then everybody else gets to do it, but the person who picks it gets a stronger version of that action. It takes what I love about Terraforming Mars, the interesting card play and the engine building and the gaining all the finances and stuff to be able to build more cars and do more awesome things. But it streamlines it so nicely and makes it so much simpler that in a lot of, like, I think on the average day, I would rather play this than the giant Terraforming Mars, even though I still love that one so much. Oh, wow. Like, this just, it cut it down. And honestly, I think they would be a lot closer on my list together if I hadn't purposely, like, moved, like, added more space between them so they weren't in the same top 10. Just because they're both very good and they both definitely have their place. But yeah, this came out and I love it. I want to play it again, and I want the 80 bajillion expansions that Terraforming Mars has to port over to this and make it lovely.
I'm not sure about that part, but there's 3 of them that just kickstarted, so I'll try them all. We'll see.
I think it'll be good.
So result, I guess I'll try.
It's so simple that you can enjoy. Like, we could play those expansions easy peasy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, puddin' pie. That's my number 32 is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
I love it. My number 32 is a 4X game. And this is a Eclipse.
How many X's?
4X.
2?
Explore,
3?
expand, exploit, exterminate, in that order. But yeah, Eclipse.
Just to clarify.
I really enjoy Eclipse. This is a 4X game that you're definitely going out there and doing all the exploration stuff, but it also has like a strong like economic feel as you're trying to like manage your money to be able to sustain the different places you own out on the board. Because the more places you build, the more upkeep you kind of have to pay for to be able to keep those actions in play. The more places you have, it might be harder for you to do actions as well. And there's a lot of interesting choices. But one of the cool things about this game as well is how you get to upgrade your ships, and you can upgrade them in different ways. And you can be like, oh, he put missiles on, I better make it harder for him to hit me. Oh crap, I'm gonna do this. Like, you can see what your opponents are doing and how they're building their ships, and kind of build your ships accordingly. And there's also the the ancients or whatever that you can run around and fight. There's the asymmetrical alien races and all that stuff. It's a very enjoyable game, and I love the 4X genre in general. And this is a great game in that genre that just gives you a strong feel of that exploration and building up your alien civilization. So I really enjoy Eclipse.
Someone asked if it plays in an hour.
It does not. It plays in much longer than an hour.
Or
but
if it has rotating boards, or
no, they're all just making fun of me.
Role playing.
Listen, I like other 4X games as well, and I mean that's one of the main
Yeah.
reasons that other things happened in my life.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I
makes
really
sense.
enjoyed
Yeah.
this. This is a lot of fun, and I wish I had time to get to the table more, just because
I
it's
do
one of
wanna
those
try
games that's a
this.
blast to play.
We have that really gorgeous looking second edition that I'd like to try.
It would be fun to like pull that out at some point, like when we have
well, we got
4 or
4
5 hours
to,
to play.
just doing nothing at the Dice Tower, you know?
Oh, the 4X stands for how many hours it takes to play the game. Now I understand.
Yes,
There's
I mean
4
you're,
times
you're
the
not
amount of
wrong.
players.
This is like an hour per player normally, you know, but it's a lot of fun, and I this like building technologies. You like to build technologies. This is building technologies in spades, so it's a blast to play. So Eclipse, my number 32.
All right, my number 31 is a 2-player, head-to-head Star Wars game. That's not the one that you're thinking of.
I know what it is.
It's Risk Star Wars Edition.
I was right. I
Wow,
was
you have this
totally-
high?
Wow.
I really like this
He
game.
really likes this game.
wow.
This is like,
You should play Queen's Gambit. You're right.
yeah, this is a very mass market kind of a production, but it's like a hobby gamer focus in the design. It is a riff off of an older game called Star Wars Queen's Gambit. This one was like, you could buy it on Amazon for like $15, like at the store for 20. But I really like it. It is not quite a 4X game. It has X-Wings and explore the shield generator and explode the Death Star. So it's only a 3X game, I guess,
Let's say there's
technically.
no civilization.
You want to
kidding,
exterminate the
Roy.
rebellion, right? Did you already say
Walk out.
exterminate?
He's just gonna
Roy
die.
just rips off his
So there's
microphone.
people that don't understand what any of it means, so they're just gonna be confused.
Yeah, no,
That's true.
it's a very simple. You move ships around and you roll dice and you attack each other, but it's very thematic because it's based on the ending of the Empire of Return of the Jedi, one of my favorite Star Wars films, my favorite Star Wars battle scene. You have cards that you play out and let you move different types of ships, or try to blow up the shield generator so you can blow up the Death Star, or on the other side of the board do a little lightsaber battle, which is probably the least thematic, where you just roll dice and I hit Darth Vader, or you roll dice and you hit Luke Skywalker. But the 3 fields of the combat all give bonuses, to whoever ends up kind of winning on those. I like it maybe more than I should. I really love this game.
I love that you're comfortable admitting that.
How do you feel
Oh, yeah.
about the like team play version of it instead of the head-to-head?
I thought it was fun. It was something to do when we had 4 of us around, and I was like, I still want to play this game. And so, if you can play it with 4 people, but it's mostly just a head-to-head game. But why not, right? If you're like me and you just want more opportunities to play this game, because
Chris, you'll settle with that option.
Like this is, speaking of in our collection, this is in our collection because Chris is like, our daughter will grow up someday and she will play this with me.
yes,
It's pretty simple, so it's not that hard to
It is.
hard to do.
It
So.
is.
yeah, it's not too hard, but there is some good choices in there. You stack your deck, and I could talk about this way longer
Cards
than
give you options.
really need be.
Each card that you play usually has 2 options on it, and you have
Right.
to pick one. And
It's very much the same as
Yeah.
Star Wars Queen's Gambit.
And
Yeah,
unfortunately, this is also out of print, so even though it was once like $10-15, it's now starting to cost as much as copies of Queen's Gambit.
That's
So
crazy.
It's wild. But hey, I love it.
It's not Risk at all.
You're so excited.
I
It's
don't even
not-
know why it's called Star Wars Risk. It's not Risk even a little bit.
I know, just because there's dice that you roll at some point, and Hasbro's like, if we put Risk on it, we'll make money.
Which is funny because I think that's also like a huge it's Risk. It's like just as exciting to some people as it's like a total turn off to others.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a risky choice, guys.
I know some people in the chat were like,
what you
really,
did there,
this
Camilla?"
game? And you're like, good, I promise it's
Which
not
is
Risk.
extremely confusing because there are Star Wars Risks. Like there are
Yeah.
Risk games that are like
Yeah,
very
it is
much Risk.
different.
So it's so strange. So
Yeah.
strange.
yeah.
But this one's great if you ever get a chance. We have it in the convention library.
There you go.
My 31 is the most stressful game on this chunk. It is my real-time game for this trunk.
Is there
this
decision
trunk.
space though, or is it too real time to make decisions?
There's some decision space. Yeah, there is. There's some very cascading decisions in it. It is
Calico!
Oh gosh, I hate that game. That is not, spoiler alert, not on my top 100. 31 is Minara.
Minara, that's what I said.
That is definitely what you said. Absolutely, and you were right. It is Minara.
Well, if you switch up the letters in a different order, you don't get Minara.
Right.
Wait. Did you say real time?
I did say real time. I meant dexterity. I did say real time.
I was so confused. I was like, I played this game. Holy crap, we didn't play this real time.
You didn't play
You put a timer on this.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Yes, it is not real
No
time.
aiming allowed. Just go.
Haha, joke's on you. No, it is a dexterity game where you have these funky shape of tiles and you have cards that come out that tell you how you have to place different pillars and cards on top of them, and you're trying to build a tower such and such high, 4 levels high or 5 levels high, depending on how many decks you run out through the game and risks you've taken. And so you have these really funky shapes that you're trying to balance, literally trying to balance, but also trying to balance the decision of like, I could put this on here, but then it's only supported on 2 points, and I really need to support on 3 points because it's only level 2, but I need to fulfill this objective, so I need to get it done now, and I don't want to draw from this deck. And so there's a lot of decisions to be made here that have, again, that cascading kind of effect. Like, yes, I can do this, but is this really the right time to do it? Am I hurting myself later? And this game is so tense. I mean, everyone is like holding their breath and like, don't touch the table and Roy with his
Stop
shit.
making faces,
Oh,
Mike!
Stop it!
Stop making faces!
And there's always that one. Mike was definitely making faces, and then you have that one person that's like stressed, like, and you're like, stop making noise. And so it's a lot of stress. It's so much fun. I think, Roy, you said it I know you did it in our live play, but I think you also said it, you're like, in every game of this, somebody inevitably takes out their camera and takes some sort of picture because it's just that wild moment that you're like, I have no idea how this is going to go down, and it's so much fun. It is not real time. I cannot imagine this game real time, but it is dexterity. It is a high level of dexterity, and I really,
and highly
really enjoy
cooperative,
it.
so that's
Highly
really cool.
highly cooperative, but also a little bit of blaming one specific person who makes faces.
It's a modern classic.
We won, it's fine.
Mike is a modern classic.
31, Minara.
All right, my number 31 is one of my favorite deck building games, but it's not my favorite deck building game, just so you can stew on that for a little bit. But it is Aeon's End. This is such a cool, I think what's interesting about this, so you are building a deck and you're trying to put stuff in it so that you can, buy more cards later and increase it, but you don't shuffle this deck. You put the cards directly in it, and then you take the discard pile and you just flip it over and start drawing from the top. And so it's very interesting how it works, and I enjoy that level of control that you have. But also there is a sense of like lack of control because it does still mix up. You have these little spell slots in front of you, and so as you play spell cards, which you then use to attack the little monsters and the big monsters, because you're all working together to attack stuff. But as you play out spells, they have to wait a whole round to be used. And so they may have been in this initial stack in the deck, but then next round you're discarding these. Next round they're going to finally get added in. And so it does shuffle itself and mix itself up amongst your cards. It's not like it's stagnant, but it's just very interesting. And I like that it's cooperative. I especially love the legacy version, which is what we first were introduced on. But it's very cool, and the storyline is really interesting. You're this group of people, and you're opening these portals essentially to this like evil dark world, trying to fight with it as these monsters are coming from that evil dark world. It's just very interesting how it works, and I enjoy this kind of like last trilogy that they've had, how the story has progressed and gone on there. So yeah, Aeon's End is solid.
So what you're saying
number
is
31.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness just copied Aeon's End.
100%.
That's
100%.
So for my 31, this is a deck building game and a press your luck game as well, and this is Clank. And this is just regular Clank with the fantasy stuff. I really enjoy Clank. I love the deck building that you're doing as the game goes along, because the points you get from deck building actually really matter in this game. But also you're trying to find like swords to be able to fight off monsters, but you're also trying to have movement so you can actually get out of the dungeon that you're going into, or the different thing that it depends on the scenario you're playing. Sometimes it's pyramids if you're playing with expansions and things like that. But whenever you're going in, you're trying to go down in there, grab treasures, and then get out. And once somebody gets out, there's basically like a dragon trying to kill you off the whole time. So it's kind of like a press your luck with your hit points as you're trying to run away. And if you're able to get out, then it makes it even worse for the people still in there, because then more and more cubes start coming out and then wrecking people's life points. This is a blast to play. I also lump in Clank Legacy with this as well, which kind of pushes us up also. Clank Legacy, I think, is still the best Legacy game I've ever played. I love it. There's a massive amount of story in it, and it just brings like Clank to the next level. And it's just really fun because you constantly upgrade things. You're constantly doing amazing stuff. I enjoy Clank. I enjoy Clank Legacy. Clank in Space is fine, but I definitely like the two fantasy versions of this game even more. And I have a bunch of expansions for this, which makes it even more fun. So Clank's a blast to play.
There's one on my list as to play.
We need to finish Pandemic Legacy Season 0. I really would like to try Clank Legacy.
It's crazy because it gives you a lot of that, like, it's based off of Penny Arcade's like D&D series that they did where they played D&D, but it's like they're different characters from that. But the story and the feel of this Acquisitions Incorporated world that they've made just is so, it's funny but yet fun, but yet you're constantly unlocking things, and it's just great, you know.
Because Clank is hit or miss for me. Like, I feel like the cards that come out, like that you're getting from the lineup, you don't always get the cards that you want. And so, like, movement, there's only like 3 or 4 movement cards. I don't know, I think for me, I really love deck building games, but I struggle more with deck building games that have boards with them.
Interesting.
Arnak is one of the few exceptions.
I wonder if you're like the decision points you're making on which cards to get is
I think it frustrates
hard.
me.
Right.
I think it just does.
Maybe you've played too much Dominion where you can see everything all the time. And this you have to, like, sometimes
all
there's not something
information.
good out there, and you should just maybe take one of the cards that's always there, or just not take anything. So that sometimes
The
happens.
standard available cards are pretty good.
Right.
I'm cool on Clank. Like, I enjoy it, but I mean, the idea of doing a legacy version of it sounds great.
It's just fun because you get to upgrade cards as the game goes along, and you get to upgrade all sorts of different things. It's just really cool. It's just really cool the way stuff works together. So I've enjoyed it. It's a blast. So.
Keep it on my to-play list. All right. And that's going to wrap us up for this chunk of 30s. We'll be back for the rest of the list this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at noon. This afternoon, Tom will be back for his At the Table talk
with Eric Summerer.
With Eric Summerer. Yep, that's right. So join him for that, and then we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Chris Yi.
I'm Roy Cannaday.
I'm Wendy Yi.
See you tomorrow.